Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm back with a new video today. This one I'm going to focus a little bit on some horror video games. There is one in particular I wanted to focus on, as well as a newer one I also wanted to focus on. But this one I thought about because it is a game I've loved for a very long time. I've been playing it pretty religiously, consistently for the last 5 years when it dropped in 2017, and that is Friday the 13th, the game. This is a game by Gun Media and Ilphonic. There's a long story to this game, lots to go through, so I just wanted to touch on a few of those things, explain what's going on with it and why or eventually we are going to be seeing a permanent end to it, which sucks. As well as some good news on the horizon, though, that Gun Media, this same company, is releasing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. I have mentioned it before in the past. I don't really cover it very much, but it is scheduled to be out this August. So, yeah, I just wanted to dive into some details with the gaming stuff. So let's get into it. Friday the 13th, the game. What can I say about this? I mean, when this dropped, I actually didn't know about it. I did not know it was being made. I did not know there was a big startup for it. I basically saw that it was available, I think it was August or September of 2017. So it had been around for a few months, but it wasn't officially released yet. I think the official release date was in October, when it actually dropped. But I wanted a physical copy of the game as well, and there was a reason for that. I did eventually get it signed by Kane Hodder here. He got it signed. Actually, it's for my son, actually, because this game in particular belongs to my son. I have a digital copy. We all actually have it on our Xboxes and stuff. We've been playing it so long, but he's the one that had the digital copy, so he signed this for my son, as well as the part 7 mask. I forgot I have it over here now. Had it over there. But yeah, we got it signed when we met him back in June of 2019 at the Calgary Horror Con. That was a really good time, actually. Very cool guy, Kane Hodder. But he did all of the Jason animation for every Jason in this, and that's from the part 2 Sackhead all the way through to Uber Jason, which of course isn't in here. Uber Jason was going to happen. That didn't because of the lawsuit. You guys might remember when the lawsuit came about, it really screwed everything up. They were planning on expanding this and adding to it, and it was going to be a pretty amazing game. But the lawsuit really killed it dramatically. There were a lot of little bugs with it, and it had to get updated all the time. And they had this little database that was created. It was Jason Kills Bugs, I think it was called, just to get stuff fixed. But they were going to be doing new game modes, like there was a panic mode and stuff like that, where I guess anybody could be Jason or something like that. There was like little things they were going to put in like that, as well as more clothing packs, maybe add counselors, and of course add Uber Jason, as I mentioned. They did have a Savini Jason as well. I was lucky enough to get a copy of that in time. But I don't have it to this day anymore. I do not have Savini because a few months ago they actually had some huge system crash, several months back. I want to say maybe 3 or 4. And it's June 2023 now, but I had a 150 ranking, which is all the way, of course, because I've owned it forever. And I had that many times over. I had over 80 days played, I'm sure, when I got wiped out. And I lost all of my money, and I had way over $1 million in points, of course, so I could just buy perks all day long, and they took all of that away. So now your counselors all had no perks, and you couldn't use certain clothes because they weren't locked anymore because they reset you to a level 0. The only evidence I have that I'm not is simply the Xbox data that shows how many days you played and keeps track of all your kills and how many times you've survived and everything. So yeah, that was a major bummer. That happened to a lot of people. Not everybody though. Every now and then you see lots of people that still have their 150 status and they weren't affected. But both my son and I got reset, and to this day I think I'm level 85, I want to say now, after all these months. Like, it takes a while. You have to play quite a bit to get back up to 150. But the game has always been a little glitchy. I never did get it to 100% either. Like, there were little things that I wasn't able to do because you need to put enough time in. Like, you have to have 1,000 games online as Jason, and I think it's less than 1% the amount of people that own the game have that. And I think it's under 3%, I think, for people that have even played 500, which I did reach that. But that was one of the ones I couldn't quite get to, as well as every kill in the game. That was glitched though, because I know I had performed every kill in the game at different points, and I had been between, I think it was 93% and like 80 some odd percent. It would flop around from game to game. It was really strange. That's how you could tell it was glitched. But I was one of the unfortunate ones who could never really figure out what they wanted that was missing, you know? Because there is no way of telling. There's so many different kills in this game that you can do as Jason, and with all the different characters and all the different weapons. And it doesn't have like a checklist of what you've done. It just tells you when you've done them all. So you're like, what haven't I done? Because, you know, like I said, I've played this game for 5 years, right? Over 80 days played. 80 days is in 24 hours a day for 80 days. That's how much time I have into this game. And honestly, it's not that bad. There are people that I have seen online that have like 350 days played, like just blowing my doors off. It's not even close. So it's really not that crazy for the amount of time I played it. But a lot of things were buggy with it and glitchy. But it's just a really fun game. I had a blast with it, you know. I don't remember enjoying a game so much as I did this one in all the years. Like, I also play this game, I'm sure you all know, Dead by Daylight. Any of you people that actually game out there will know that's a very popular horror game. And that is one that I got around the same time as Friday. And I did like Friday better. But I actually got Dead by Daylight because they had just dropped a Halloween package with Michael Myers and everything. And I wanted to go for it, so I was like, oh, I got to try this game out. All these other licensing that they've got, because they have an impressive long list. Like, pretty much every killer you can imagine, except Jason, of course, because he had his own game. I'm sure there were some licensing issues there as well. Plus, the lawsuit was going on through all that as well. So they never did get a Jason, but I mean, they have Freddy on there and Michael Myers, and they have Ghostface, you know, all the typical ones like that, Leatherface, as well as some really different stuff out there. Like, they had Stranger Things, Survivors, you know. But again, every killer does the same thing. Like, you get captured, they basically hang you in a tree to sacrifice your soul to the gods or something. It's such a deep plot and a whole thing that's just Dead by Daylight, and then they're bringing in these licensed characters to play in their game with some of the abilities to sort of work with stuff, and some things just, you know, not. But it you know, to me, it never really felt like those characters' backgrounds, you know. I think on most of the characters they have a map, but even that, it's just kind of background that looks kind of neat. But it, you know, it's still the exact same concept. You still have to hang people in trees and stuff. So I was never too into that. Whereas this one is just about, you know, you have 7 counselors that are trying to survive. You're trying to fix a car or a boat to get out, or call the cops to get out, or just survive the night and not get killed by Jason. And you have different ways of defending yourself. Like, there's firecrackers and there's weapons you can swing at him, and there's knives, like pocket knives, that you can hold. So if he grabs you, you can stab him in the neck and you get another chance to get away, kind of thing. Not a lot of those, but it's all strategic stuff like that as well. And it's just a really fun game to play. I met lots of great people online playing that game. But anyway, so just a few days ago, they announced on their, I think it's right on their website and on their Twitter account, like the Friday the 13th the game, they announced this. So it says Friday the 13th the game, expiration of license. The time has come. Our license for Friday the 13th will expire on December 31st, 2023. On that date, Friday the 13th the game will no longer be available for sale, both physically and digitally. The game will, however, continue to function through at least December 31st, 2024, if you already own it. At this time, we've made the decision to reduce the price to $4.99 for the base game and 99 cents for each piece of download content. We will continue to offer the title and content at that price point right up until it's removed from digital/physical storefronts on December 31st, 2023. We would like to thank our community for the dedication they've shown to Friday the 13th the game and Gun Interactive as a whole. They were Gun Media, now they're Gun Interactive. And we are happy the game will live on a while longer and continue to be enjoyed by anyone owning the game already. So that is the sad news released by Gun Interactive. So they are officially going to be killing the game. They have no choice because the license runs out at the end of this year. Sounds like it is still going to be playable for a year after that, so that's good. So as of right now, we have a little more than a year and a half to play this game before it is gone forever. Now, there are different modes, so I'm not really sure if they're saying nothing's going to work, period, because I would think nothing online would work, because there is an offline mode. However, you can't be a counselor, so if you're playing offline, you're probably stuck just being Jason. I imagine that should always work, because it's just bots. Old games that are licensed, you can still boot up and play. My guess is just all the online services will be gone. Then there's the virtual cabin. There is a virtual cabin where you can, go through this entire thing and look for clues and figure out how to get through the entire thing. That was a really fun thing to do. I don't know if that's going to be running or not either, if that's like an online feature. So that part does make me wonder, as well as the challenges. The challenges for me, I would think, have nothing to do with online at all. They should be right on the disc, and you should be able to do those as much as you want. Challenges are cool. You just have to basically go through these scenarios where there's counselors like talking, there's a little storyline, and you have to go hit certain marks and be able to kill people like quietly without getting their attention or alerting anybody. They're really fun, so I would think those should all still be playable. So I mean, even those modes and playing offline would be worth the $5 they want for it, but that's really sad. I totally adore this game, and over the next year and a half I'm definitely going to make sure that I play it as much as I can here and there, because I have so much fun playing it despite its many flaws. So that is going to be tough. But on the flip side of all this, Gun Interactive, which used to be Gun Media, by the way, is releasing a new horror game that looks very promising. This is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This game is a little bit of a different concept. It has some elements of Friday the 13th, I think, in it, as well as some elements from maybe sort of like Dead by Daylight, where this game is more of when you're a survivor, you were trying to hide and avoid getting seen. So there's 3 killers and there are 4 survivors, and you are on one side or the other. So it definitely looks really good. You can pre-order it as of today. I mentioned it's June 12th today. That is when the pre-order went live. I think it's going to be the next big playable fun game, so I'm hoping it is as fun to play as Friday is for sure for me. I guess we will see. It's definitely not a Halloween game, which is something a lot of us have been clamoring for a long time. I know I have. I thought, over the last 5 years or so, they should have struck while the iron was hot. And, by the time Kills finally hit theaters in 2021, after all this craziness, I thought that'd be a great time to be able to launch a game. And again, with a concept like this, where you have, in Friday the 13th, you have familiar maps from the movies. You have Higgins Haven, you have the Packanack, Pinehurst, the Jarvis house. There's a lot of different settings from the movie, so it's really neat. I think if they did a concept like that for Halloween, that would be amazing. Like a bunch of different settings from the movie, and every Michael Myers from each movie. You have the OG, you got part 2, you got part 4, 5, you know, and they look exactly like they did in the film, and they all have their pros and cons, their goods and bads about them, so it's fairly balanced. And then you have survivors. It would be really, really cool to be able to do that. Like in Friday, you have Tommy Jarvis. He comes back as one of the counselors that has either died early or escaped already. Somebody is chosen randomly. There's a little bit more to it than that, but Tommy comes back, and you know, he's got some good gear with him, and he's there to try to help the counselors get out, or he can fix stuff faster and everything. And you could definitely do something like that with a Halloween game with, you know, Laurie Strode's character or something. Maybe she can come in and help everybody, right? I don't think it would be very hard just to come up with some neat ideas. I've seen some really cool fan games that were made for Halloween as well, but that's one that I've really wanted to see for a while, and I think it's overdue, and I think it's going to start to cool off now like it is, and they really should have jumped on it, because I think they could have made a lot of money had they gone for that kind of licensing and a game like that. Now I'm really hoping a franchise like Scream goes after it, because again, the same kind of concept, different settings, different ghost face killers, right? And different survivors to the same effect, you know, the whole hiding from them, or having to fix things to get out, or make your way through things, or you know, you have to hit them or something and get away. You know what I mean? Like there's some interaction there. I think it would be a real winner doing something like that with Scream as well, especially with how hot it is right now. So I think right now would be a very good time to be doing a Scream game. I'm sure there's a lot of development that has to go into it, but I really hope somebody's already working on it, because man, these are some things I expected to see by now. Lastly, I have another video I'm going to want to shoot real soon as well, because I have a little package that's been sitting here for a while, and I'm looking forward to showing you those, as well as a little story I have that I'm going to be getting into on a crushed package that I received. Don't want to show you too much on it, but this was a special little thing that I wanted to show you guys. I was looking forward to getting. However, it arrived rather damaged. The inside doesn't look too bad, but there was a bit of a mix-up with it, so that'll be an interesting story coming up soon as well. So I do want to show you that, as well as the shirt pickups, so that will be coming next. Hey guys, sorry, I just have to cut in here real quick, because while I was editing this video over the last day or two, I got some really awesome news that is really related to this topic that you need to know about. Now, there's not a ton of details about it, but check this out. Recently, as reported by Rely on Horror. So Harry Manfredini gave an exclusive interview to Rely on Horror, and in the interview he mentioned that he is working on a new Friday the 13th game. So everybody is freaking out. This is what it said here. So he says, we spoke specifically about how he composed the score for the Friday the 13th game developed by IllFonic and published by Gun Media, and how instead of composing a traditionally structured soundtrack, he created what he called modules of material, or pieces of music that would dynamically adapt to each player's specific actions. He emphasized the fact that the game's score is actually determined by the player's choices, not by him, and that each player has a score unique to their experiences and is only audible to them. So he was talking about the game a little bit there, but it goes on. Check this part out. During our conversation, he also revealed that he will be working on a new, as yet unannounced Friday the 13th game being developed by a different company than the previous one produced by Gun Media, and featuring more realistic looking characters. That's a quote. The game will supposedly be done in a different style to that of the previous asymmetrical multiplayer title. He didn't know many other details about the game beyond his involvement, but it's still exciting to know that there's something new on the horizon for the series. So I think it's safe to say that that's pretty friggin' awesome news. I don't know if this new one is going to be as good as the old one, or I'm going to like it as much. Maybe it'll be better, but in a different way. I really love that old one, so I guess we'll see. Great news to hear, and yeah, maybe that has a lot to do with the licensing change. Maybe they're just doing a switchover kind of thing with a new company. So exciting news. Back to what I was blathering about. So that is pretty much it for now, you guys. That is the video game news, both some bittersweet, sad, and some happy news with the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But good thing is we still have a year and a half to play Friday the 13th. So all you people who have been sitting on that game, get on that and enjoy it while you have a chance to, or you're going to be really bummed out you didn't check it out enough, because it's fun despite its flaws. Anyway, you guys take care, and we'll see you again real soon for another video.